Hey, Joe.
Hey, Dr. John, how you doing?
I'm good. Are y'all surviving, man?
As much as we can be. It's definitely a killer heat, that's for sure.
Golly, that's like unfathomable hot, man. Whew. So what's up?
So I'm calling because, speaking of this killer heat, I'm calling because I'm trying to prepare for my third child, but last year I had a heat stroke that disrupted my career plans.
Dude, no
and it's
way.
for the job I specifically moved for.
I wouldn't have made a heat joke. Man, okay, heat stroke. Actually, I probably would have made a heat joke anyway. I'm sorry.
No problem. It's all good. It's all good.
That's how I deal with awkward, is making really more awkward jokes. All right, so you moved down to the outer rim of hell for a job, and then you had a heat stroke.
That's right. It literally moved from the West Coast all the way in the West with great weather, came for a career in law enforcement, and unfortunately had a heat stroke probably within a month when I moved here, and it's completely derailed my plans.
How so?
So I basically was hospitalized for 8 days.
Okay.
Just got medical clearance to start resuming physical activities about a month ago. And in that time, I missed out on being able to go through everything I was planning on doing. When I made that move, it was all with a specific plan in mind to set up everything for my family. And as time went on, right now we're expecting our third child, and I'm preparing to go back into the academy. It was a career in law enforcement, but we don't have family out here. We're not from around here. And I feel very conflicted about going back into this academy and then putting my wife through having our third baby with 2 children and no support, because they don't allow me the time off to support her.
Could I make a guess? Just a wild guess. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
She really wants to go back home.
Yeah, she does.
Go home.
You think so?
I mean, I can hear it in your voice, man. If you're going to go be all in, go to the academy, you got to be all in.
Yeah.
And you're going to get hurt if you don't.
Yeah.
And how long have you been out in Tucson?
It's coming up on a year, almost 10 days, year to date from the incident.
Okay. So you were medically uncleared for a year?
Just about.
Good God, dude. What happened? That was just straight up heat stroke?
So, of course, we were outside. We were running up in the mountains there.
Sure.
And when I had my heat stroke, I was unconscious, woke up in the hospital. And then with the heat stroke, I ended up with rhabdomyolysis, which is the muscle death.
Yeah.
And that's what put me out.
How much weight did you lose?
After, so probably about 40 pounds after being on the IV bag.
Golly. How much of that was weight you needed to lose versus it was just eating muscle?
Most of it was muscle at first. Yeah. And then now that I got the clearance, I've been able to really attack, a healthy lifestyle and get after it that way.
Do you still want to be a policeman?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. Why Tucson over anywhere else?
Honestly, it was just the circumstances of how life was going. I had recently, before applying and getting to Tucson, was let go from a job in finance and refinances after the interest or the rates went up.
Oh yeah,
refinances.
For sure. Yeah.
And I decided I needed to really pursue a career that I've been passionate about.
Awesome.
I've been a family man since 19 and just was focused on providing for my family.
Okay.
So I've job hopped looking for the best pay until I got laid off, and heard about Tucson, people needing, cops out here. And at that time, I really was looking for a way out of California, especially how things were kind of hectic.
Yeah. Well, it feels like you and your wife need to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Because I'll revise my statement. it may not be that you need to go back to California. That may not be economically feasible for y'all. It may not be values feasible for y'all. It may not be, there may be 1,000 reasons to not go back. But you and your wife need to sit down and ask yourself, what kind of life do we want to build for ourselves? Because that might mean we really want to have a house on an acre so our kids can run and play. And to make that happen, we got to move to Kansas. And by the way, they're gonna need police officers in Kansas. It might be we want to be around family no matter what. So I'm going to be a police officer in LA County, or we're going to live in a 2-bedroom apartment because that is the most important thing to us. Y'all need to have that. What kind of life do we want to build for ourselves?
Yeah.
And then you're going to reverse engineer it and make that work. And every single picture y'all come up with together is going to require compromise. And that's okay. Being a police officer comes with a decision. I am going to make sacrifices economically. I'm going to make sacrifices for safety for a much greater purpose.
Yeah.
And it's my gang. It's people I love. It's my dad's tribe. It's people I've run around with. That's the people I love. But it is a decision to have a different kind of life.
Yeah.
Why the exhale?
I think for me, it's been a wild roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when plans completely go away and derailed, and being the sole provider and always wanting to just give the best to my wife and my kids. You know, she was there with me when I went through this, and want to be able to stand by her. And I feel an immense amount of guilt for moving us out here and wrestling with the question of, had I not moved out here, would we be in better circumstances? Or
so let me interrupt you.
Go ahead.
That's a choice to be miserable in your own home. Okay? That revisionist history that could have been, that, man, I wonder if, is a complete and utter waste of time because those moments are gone. Here's what's a better use of your time. You proved that you can pack up and move across the country and make a life. You proved that you are real tough, and you almost died. And you fought through it, and now you're back in the gym, which should tell you, I can do anything. I can pack up and move all the way back.
Yeah.
And the only thing that would prevent you from that is ego. Because probably some people told you, I can't believe you're moving away from family, or you'll be right back. And you're like, nope, watch it. And then you're going to go back. And that's just ego. Who cares?
Yeah.
The other side of it is, and this is just me sitting with a lot of police officers who've been in, not heat stroke, but who have been injured or hurt, is you lost trust in the most precious thing you didn't even know you had laid trust in, and that's your own body.
Yeah.
And anytime you get hurt like that, or you have some sort of illness, some sort of something or other, it's that weird, the ground feels unstable. Because if I can't trust my body to work right, I can't trust anything. And it's just scary. It's a Control-Alt-Delete. It resets things, right?
Yeah, it does feel like with almost like undealt with trauma, not really fully accepting that I could have died or that I almost died that day.
Yeah. You almost died because your body quit. That's scary.
Yeah.
And, I say that a lot on the show, and it didn't. And your body shut itself down, but it's back, and it's healthier than ever. Now the question is, what kind of life do we want to build together? And I hope you hear that question as a very forward-thinking way to see the world. Doesn't matter what happened last year. And if you are in it enough, whatever it is, then you'll be home for a few days. What do they give you, 48 hours, 72 hours?
Yeah, 48.
Okay, you got to be back on. So if you were 1,000% in to whatever it is, and it just happened to be you were in this training, or you were taking your med school finals or your law school finals, or you were trying a case before the Supreme Court, or you're in the police academy, whatever job you're in. You get 4 to 8 hours to go be with your wife, see your baby get born, make sure everybody's okay, and then you're back. You'll scratch and claw and hire, and people will come visit, and they'll stay in the guest room, and you'll move the other 2 kids around. You make it work. If you don't want to be here, and you don't want to be doing this, and you're terrified because I was in finance, and then I tried power washing business, and then tried a lawn business, and then I was going to be a cop, and that almost killed me, and you feel listless and lost, address that issue.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I've also just feel like, I'm lost, more like even mad, just kind of mad and not understanding, because I'm a man of faith, and I always figured, God works things into his glory. And this past year, I just couldn't find that, and have a hard time finding like why, but I got to just let it go.
I just don't think I think you're too close to it right now.
Yeah.
And glory doesn't mean everything works out in the end. And glory doesn't always mean economic safety. That's prosperity nonsense.
Yeah.
Glory is the man that got shot the other day and died at the failed assassination attempt, and listening to his daughter, what she wrote about her dad.
Yeah.
What kind of amazing man he was. What kind of a great example he was. That didn't work out in the end.
Yeah,
right?
True.
And so I think we often pin on God that everything's great in the end. It all works out. It's all roses and butterflies. That's not how it works. But I think bigger than that is you have to ask yourself, take full ownership and say, okay, what kind of house do we want to build? What kind of home do we want to have? Yeah. Otherwise, you and your wife just end up playing whack-a-mole with the latest feeling. I don't feel enough. I don't feel like my parents are close enough to us. I feel like I'm mad at you. I feel like I don't like you. I feel. And you don't ever do the hard work of, okay, what do we want to build? Let's work towards that. And by the way, you build and work towards it. You get there and you're like, I don't actually like this. Cool, let's just build something new. That's what makes it all. That's what's awesome about having a ride or die. It's more complicated because you got 3 little kids. That makes everything wonky, right? But you and your wife get to choose. After being around police officers, is that what you really want to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I've always wanted to do, and the timing felt right the first time around, and then the whole issue, the incident happened, and things just got wonky, and then the family's growing, and I think it just never undealt with before.
Yeah. So here's what I want you to do. It's going to sound crazy. I want you to write a letter to Joe's body and tell it that it scared the crap out of you and you're proud of it. And here's how you are going to be a steward of it moving forward. And that's just you processing the grief of, man, I almost died. But you didn't. So we're going to own that. Cool. And then we're going to go on to the next thing. And the next thing is going to be you and your wife deciding, hey, before we move again, before I go back into the academy, before you have a baby by yourself, before we do all this stuff, let's decide what kind of life we want to have and where we want to have it. We've learned some lessons this past year. Maybe we thought that we could just move away from family, but then, man, one of us got sick for a year. And we realized, no, we need family support. We didn't want to, but that's the reality for us. Or, man, we're going to move again because Tucson's real expensive. We're going to move to a cheaper place where I can be a police officer there because that's really what I'm called to do right now. But we're going to have to be maniacal about making friends. We have to have friends everywhere, all over the place because you can't do life by ourselves. And we've never had 3 kids. We're going from man to man to zone, and that's going to be hard. So what kind of life do we want to have when we are navigating 3 kids plus police academy, plus we don't have a ton of money? What's that going to look like? But all of these things, hear me say, are moving forward. What's tomorrow going to look like? We do have to spend some time in grief. We have to spend some time in gratitude. Thank God your wife stuck by you. Thank God your body's healed. Thank God the doctors walked with you. And now we get to ask ourselves, all right, what's the next right move? And by the way, Joe, it can be whatever you want it to be. Just be intentional about it. All of it. What's the life we want to build? And then go build it. Or as the great Avett Brothers sing, decide what to be and go be it. Thanks for the call, my brother. I hope you are a police officer and hope you're an amazing public servant and you take care of your community and your family because we need more guys like you.